Back here again. And, yeah, what we're doing today is the last thing in the entire game that you actually need to be a child for. Here we are. Desert Colossus as a child. This is what Sheik told us to do. Sheik... I mean, we've never met Sheik yet, technically. The levers are as big as Link now, and that brings me to something I should have talked about when we went to the bottom of the well, but I was just a little confused on if that was a huge bubble down there, or if the enemies are just huge and Link is tiny. Yeah, it turns out Link is tiny. These are the same sized enemies. Yeah. So, basically, any adult enemies we face as young Link are going to tower over young Link, where they didn't, for Link as an adult. Link is basically a really tiny child, but a huge adult. And it's kind of charming. Go away, levers. Okay. I am going to put on the Mask of Truth real quick, because there's a gossip stone out here, and I'm actually curious what it'll say. I overheard this. They say that the treasure you can earn in the Gerudo's training ground is not as great as you would expect, given its difficulty. You're really just telling me straight up that it's not worth doing that, huh? Well, it's not necessarily wrong, but still, it's a thing we should do. Anyway, there is some soft soil outside the Spirit Temple, which means we are going to want magic beans and bugs. And I'm not going to forget the bugs this time. Alright, and we never need bugs again, so I don't actually need to get my bugs back. That feels nice. Yeah, this is the last patch of soft soil in the entire game. And our 87th gold Skulltula token, not bad. Also going to plant our beans. Definitely planted it in the stone, so don't know how it ended up there, but that's fine. And, I'm short a few hearts, and I could use another fairy in this bottle, so I'll fill up the oasis real quick. God, the gaze, man. I've said this sentence many times in my life, by the way. Alright. Oh, this water is too deep for young Link. Okay, well, we caught it. Even if Link had to grow gills temporarily for it. Don't worry too much about this magic bean plant yet. How did it do that? That lever was on the stone. Anyway, don't worry about this yet. You can go back and do what it can do for you now as an adult if you want, but we'll be coming back here as an adult later anyway, so for now, let's just head in. And ignore the flying pots. I'm honestly going to keep the Hylian shield equipped because there's a lot of enemies that use fire, like, attacks in here, or just, like, fire elemental enemies, and I think it'll be good to be prepared for that. I also probably want the slingshot instead of bombs, and hello. Hi. I haven't seen you around, kid. What do you want? Nothing really. You have nothing to do? What good timing. Can you do me a favor, kid? Wait a second. I want to ask you first. You wouldn't happen to be one of Ganondorf's followers, would you? I hate Ganondorf. Uh-huh. You've got guts. I think I like you. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Naburu of the Gerudo. I'm a lone wolf thief and the only one without a bad Scottish accent. But don't get me wrong. Though we're both thieves, I'm completely different from Ganondorf. With his followers, he stole from women and children, and he even killed people. A kid like you may not know this, but the Gerudo race consists only of women. Only one man is born every 100 years. Even though our laws say that lone male Gerudo must become king of the Gerudo, I'll never bow to such an evil man. By the way, what is your name, kid? Link? What kind of name is that? Well, anyway. I want to ask you a favor. Will you go through this tiny hole and get a... So it's not the... It's not the dialogue itself that made me laugh. It's thinking back to Luca J's Let's Play. She lost her shit at this line. Okay. Will you go through this tiny hole and get a treasure that's inside? The treasure is the silver gauntlets. If you equip them, you can easily push and pull very heavy things. No, 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 kid. Don't even think about taking this treasure for yourself. The silver gauntlets won't fit a little kid like you if you try to equip them. I want you to be a good boy and give them to me. Ganondorf and his minions are using the Spirit Temple as a hideout. Only the silver gauntlets will allow me to sneak deep into the temple. Once there, I'm going to steal all the treasure inside and mess up their plans. How about it? Will you do it? Yeah, sounds good to me. Thanks, kid. You and I, let's give Ganondorf and his followers a big surprise, shall we? If you can successfully get the silver gauntlets, I'll do something great for you. Okay. Thanks. I probably don't need to be wearing this mask. I just forgot to take it off. All right. Let's head through this tiny hole. We're going to help her and try to kill Ganondorf early. Again, because it worked so well the first time. All right. As I said, there are many fire enemies in here, starting with the fire keys in this room, and there's more keys and torches in the room to create more fire keys. So, really, just a nightmare situation. We also have an Armos. Okay, I think we need to kill it with a bomb, and I put the bombs away, and it turns out it was for no reason. Ow. Jeez. My notes say explicitly, watch out for the spike trap, so what am I doing? The exact opposite of that. That's what. Come here. Yes, good. Okay, now leave me alone. Ow. Leave me alone. And now we can kill the keys. I'm taking so much damage. And I'm wasting so many bullets. I don't need to be doing that. I'm calling them bullets like they're bullets. It's because you get a bullet bag to carry them, which the fact that it's called a bullet bag implies the existence of guns, kind of, which I don't like. I don't think guns exist. Crossbows exist, but that's not until hundreds of years later, if the timeline is to be believed. Anyway, it pointed us to the right door, so we're gonna go through the left door. In here is a Stalfos, and as you can see, yeah, he's massive. So it is pretty easy to deal with as a kid because you can just use the Hylian shield and like none of his attacks can hit you. Sort of the same as a Lizalfos, basically, just takes more hits. But the Kokiri sword is going to be doing considerably less damage to it than the Master Sword or the Bigoron sword would. And that is where the main challenge here is going to come along. However, if you're careful, you can get him to just jump off the edge. Come on, you know you want to. Oh, or I want to. Somebody wants to. Well, whatever. You can do that and he'll fall off into the void, but I'd rather fight him normally. It's not every day you get to fight a Stalfos as a kid. There we go. I mean, it's like the novelty would be the same if you were fighting like a Lizalfos as an adult. You just gotta do it when you have the opportunity. Anyway, want to kill that guy by just hitting him with the boomerang and then with the slingshot. God, I'm struggling with English today, apparently. If you did lose your shield, this chest will contain a new Deku shield, but otherwise, 5 rupees, because that's the default if it would otherwise have a shield, which is kind of lame because 5 rupees sucks as a reward, especially this late in the game. In here, new enemy. It's an Anubis. It will mirror your movements, but if you use your sword, it will spit a fireball at you. So basically, it sucks. We want to get ourselves over to the other side of the room, and then from here, get it next to that door and shoot the crystal switch. That'll start a fire, and fire happens to be the only thing an Anubis is vulnerable to, so it works out that way. You could also use Din's Fire, which is much easier and better overall to do, probably, because it's faster and magic is, like, such a common thing. Also, I'm pretty sure it dropped 60 rupees and I wasn't able to get any of them. That sucks, but yeah, you can get a refill on magic so easily in this game, and what else are you going to use magic on? Although, I do think there is more uses for magic within this particular temple. Anyway, I want to actually fight the wall master that's in this room. It'll take 4 hits of the Kokiri sword, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that is the first wall master I have successfully killed in this Let's Play. Took long enough. Jeez. I feel like every time I tried to roll out of the way, which mostly would have just been in the forest temple, but every time, basically, they kicked my ass. And by that I mean they grabbed me and brought me to the start. We could kill the other Keese on the gate, but that one is flying, so no such luck. And this one is in just the right position to not get hit, apparently. I wonder if Din's Fire will just kill them from this side. I said I wanted to preserve magic in this dungeon, and then here I go, not preserving magic. That's fine. Yeah, that just turned the Keese into Fire Keese. Whatever, we killed the Gold Skulltula at least. That's good, the Gold Skulltula can actually hurt you on this side of the wall if you go onto the same, like, tile as it, so gotta be careful of that if you're climbing up here and not using Din's Fire to make your life harder with these keys. There we go. Knocks that down, and we need to deal with these keys before anything else. Because they will be annoying otherwise. There we go. I'm glad they just both kind of flew towards me instantly. There we go. 88th Gold Skulltula token. Alright. Cool. I have not been reading my notes. I think this dungeon is just a little bit easy at this point, but I wanted to let you know that my note said I should have called the Anubis instead of a new enemy, Anubis, and I didn't go through with it. So, really, I'm pretty lame. Anyway. There are 2 torches here, and we have so much magic, who cares if I use Din's Fire again? That will cause a chest to appear back on the other side of the room. And inside is our first small key. This is our second child dungeon that's going to... Okay, so my friend told me I should stop calling them child dungeons a while ago, and I just told them to get their mind out of the gutter, but every time I say it, I have to stop and think for a second, because that is a bad combination of words. But I'm not gonna stop because it's just the best way to describe it. Young Link dungeon, I guess, but that doesn't sound much better. Either way, this is our second Young Link dungeon that has small keys in it, so get ready for that. Alright. We're back in this room now. And the Armo stays dead, thank God. We've gone through both doors. Next time on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we're going to continue further into the Spirit Temple. See you guys then.